It was just my imagination running away with me.
This is the Legal Survival Show with James Hirsen, and a lot of you are concerned, especially with changes in the economy, especially with government policy, especially with rampant litigation. You're concerned about your assets. Well, we have somebody that's going to answer those questions in just a moment. Stay tuned.
The Legal Survival Expert Line.
And on the expert line is David McCauley. David McCauley is the president of Leaders Without Limits. He has extensive experience in asset protection. He has a business background, a real estate background, and he's been consulting business owners and private citizens on how to preserve their assets. David, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Mr. Hirsen. I appreciate you having me on your show today.
It's my pleasure. And, people hear this phrase, asset protection, and, there are even some law firms that say that they specialize in it. What exactly is it? What is asset protection?
It's merely changing the method in how you hold title to your assets. The average person holds title to their house, to their rainy day fund, in their individual name, and they think that's the right thing to do because they're proud of what they've built. And an asset protection, on what we encourage folks to do, is change that method in how you hold title, hold it in an entity that you control. Because, unfortunately, what I learned about asset protection, I learned the hard way. At age 22, I was involved in a head-on car collision. I was sued for $400,000. I hit black ice and went right into a 57 Chevy head-on. And everything was in my individual name. The vehicle I was driving, individual name. My business was a sole proprietor, which was tied to my individual name and my Social Security number. So when I was sued for that lawsuit, they went through everything individually. They found my rainy day fund. They seized it. It's just unbelievable. So that's, for us, asset protection is just holding and managing assets at an entity level. And
so you learned about asset protection the very hard way.
Yeah,
School of Hard Knocks with black eyes and a head-on collision. But and I'm sure you tell your clients this. I mean, the time for people to plan asset protection is long before the head-on collision, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. You want to protect your assets while your legal seas are calm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then, of course, there are these fraudulent conveyance laws that
every state has them.
Right, that get in the way. I mean, some people think, well, I got a bunch of creditors after me, or I've got people suing me. Now's the time for me to engage in asset protection. That's not the optimum time by any stretch.
That's exactly right. Now, you want to protect while your legal seas are calm. It's very critical. And sadly, we have folks that come into our office looking to protect after they were sued. Just had a gentleman that was an elderly man. He was allowing his granddaughter, who just turned 15 and a half, with a temporary permit to drive his vehicle. He was in the passenger seat. There was another gentleman ahead on a skateboard, jumping from the curb to the street. She made a hard left. He jumped out into the street. She hit him and killed him. That man came into our office. We need to protect our assets, and I had to shake his hand. It's unfortunate, Mr. Hirsen, that I cannot assist folks in protecting assets after litigation has commenced. It is absolutely fraudulent.
Yeah, you can't do it. One of the services that you're involved in, you deal with entrepreneurs and business owners, and you teach them about incorporating and about LLCs, limited liability companies. And this is of great concern to folks today in the state of California, where the citizens have voted to raise their own taxes and elected a supermajority that can tax at will.
That's right.
So, if a business can be allowed to establish an address in a state that has lower tax, is that the kind of stratagem that you come up with at your firm?
Sure, and that's a legal, lawful, and ethical strategy. I'll share one with you. We have a client, say, that's involved in purchasing commercial real estate. We would then create an LLC to hold title to that real estate, and that would be filed in the state of California, the managing member of that LLC would most likely be a C corporation filed in the state of Nevada. So we have rent that can flow through the California LLC, we're doing business in the state of California, and into the Nevada low-tax jurisdiction. So we're taking money from a high-tax jurisdiction into a low-tax jurisdiction. I mean, this is a strategy the wealthy have been using for decades.
And so you still have to pay a certain amount of tax in California, but you reduce the amount of California taxable income by offloading some of the income into a jurisdiction that has no state income tax. Am I saying that correctly?
That's exactly right. Absolutely
well, that's the kind of asset protection that people really need. That's creative, and it's legal, and not, there's some people that come out and say they're protecting assets, and they're coming up with illegitimate ways to do it. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was going to ask you, because you have a real estate background. People that have investment real estate are often told that they can't get involved with other jurisdictions setting up a corporation somewhere else because their business can't be relocated. If they were in internet marketing, for example, it can be located anywhere, then they move to Nevada or Texas or somewhere like that. But
that's exactly right.
But using that technique you're talking about sort of gets around that problem.
That's right. And in addition, too, I mean, we have rents that come in through one entity in a high-tax jurisdiction like the state of California, and now higher, of course, and then passing through that entity into another entity you control in Nevada. You just created charging order protection, which is the sole remedy on the Nevada corporation, which charging order protection allows for, say, someone that thinks of a judgment the way you and I think of judgments. They would have to go after a charging order in this to go ahead and be successful in attachment on this entity. Well, it allows for you to make decisions and control the distributions of the funds. So if someone had a charging order protection of $25,000 and you decided and they were successful in getting a charging order against you for $25,000, and you decided then to resurface your parking lot, that person with a charging order out of the state of Nevada, because their sole remedy is charging order protection,
right,
that person would get a K-1 in the mail and have to pay tax on money they never received.
They're not going to like that at all.
That's right.
Yeah, that's really David, we're out of time. Where can people reach you?
Sure. I'm toll-free at Leaders Without Limits Incorporated. I can be reached at 1-877-652-1868. Again, it's 1-877-652-1868, or online at our website at www.leaderswithoutlimits.biz.
Well, I want to thank you so much, David McCauley, for being with us. We're going to be back after this message.
It's the Legal Survival Show with James Hirsen.
James Hirsen.